Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name is Amy, and I am an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the NIV, and we are in the book of First Kings. We are in the chapter 6, continuing on the story of King Solomon and the building of the temple in Jerusalem. Solomon builds the temple in the 480th year. So G. That's Hebrew, the Septuagint, 440th. So there's some dispute about 40 years there. After the Israelites had come out of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month of Ziv, Z-I-V, the 2nd month, he began to build the temple of the Lord. The temple that King Solomon built for the Lord was 60 cubits long, 20 wide, and 30 high. We have a footnote of H telling us that means it's about 90 feet or 27 meters long, and about 30 feet or 9 meters wide, and 45 feet or 13.5 meters high. The portico is like usually roundish. It can just be a bump out, but it doesn't have to be. It can also just be sort of like, it can be square, sort of covered. Technically, like, where you have over an ambulance bay, where it's got like the thing that lets you know it's emergency and this is where the ambulance is. That's a portico. Porticos are that kind of overhead. The portico at the front of the main hall of the temple extended the width of the temple. That is 20 cubits. And they've got an F. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's an I, not an F. That is 15 feet, or about 4.5 meters. And projected 10 cubits. That is about 15 feet. Is it? Yeah, 30 feet and 9 meters, and 15 feet or 4.5 meters for the the 20 and 10 cubits. And from the front of the temple, he made a narrow clerestory, Clerestory, windows in the temple. Against the walls of the main hall and the inner sanctuary, he built a structure around the building in which there were side rooms. So narrow clerestory windows. It's the narrow, thin, long, like slat windows that you see in like castles and the old places like that. It's for the sunlight to come in. And if you have it all the way going up, it means that, you're always going to have light in that space. Does it mean you'll end up with rain in that space? Yes, because who said glass was in place yet? We are in the BC era. Okay. Against the walls of the main hall and the inner sanctuary, he built a structure around the building in which there were side rooms. The lowest floor was 5 cubits. K, that is about 7.5 feet or 2.3 meters, which also repeats in other verses. Wide. The middle floor was 6 cubits, and that's about 9 feet or 2.7 meters. And the third floor, 7 cubits. That'd be at 10.5 feet or 3.1 meters. He made offset ledges around the outside of the temple so that nothing would be inserted into the temple walls. Okay, so what that is meaning is it's wider on the bottom and it's getting narrower on the top so that there's no wall cavity. There's like he's capping each wall and then making the next wall, like the base walls must be really, really wide so the next one can be just a little bit smaller in size. And then the next one a little bit smaller in size, and then a little bit smaller in size, so that they can't fit any kind of And that means, and it's, I'm going to say this is not unusual in the construction of buildings. If you were to go into certain buildings, especially older ones, inside of the columns, and you were to break through in there, you'll find all kinds of stuff. Newspaper from when it was built. They were stuffing it with whatever they could to make it not sound hollow. All kinds of stuff depending upon the construction. So this is to make sure that no pagan iconography was getting into the solid construction of the temple, to make it big and strong and sturdy so it can withhold a siege, and to make sure so that no iconography, no paganness can be put in there, so that it can stay holy. In the building, the temple only in building the temple, only blocks dressed at the quarry were used, and no hammer, chisel, or any other iron tool was heard at the temple at the site where it was being built. So they had no chance to deface it later. Everything was done there where it could be fully inspected and just put into place. The entrance to the lowest floor, B, who's got a footnote on there. The Septuagint Hebrew, and they say middle, not lowest floor. So that would imply maybe the one at grade level, if there was one below grade. Was on the south side of the temple. A stairway led up to the middle level, and from there to the third. Okay, so outer stairways, got it. We still have those today, usually in emergency egresses situations and stuff. So he built the temple and completed it, roofing it with beams and cedar planks. Okay, and he built the side rooms along the temple. The height of each was 5 cubits, and they were attached to the temple by beams of cedar. So that's one of those ones where it says 7.5 feet or 2.3 meters, 5 cubits. The word of the Lord came to Solomon, as this was the temple, as for this temple you are building, if you follow my decrees, carry out my regulations, and keep all my commands and obey them, I will fulfill through you the promise I gave David your father, and I will live among the Israelites and will not abandon my people Israel. So Solomon built the temple and completed it. He lined its interior walls with cedar boards, paneling them from the floor of the temple to the ceiling, and covered the floor of the temple with planks of pine. He partitioned off 20 cubits, footnote of C, that is about 30 feet or about 9 meters, at the rear of the temple with cedar boards from floor to ceiling, to form within the temple an inner sanctuary, the most high place. The main hall in front of this room was 40 cubits long. That's we got a footnote of D. That is about 60 meters or 60 feet or about 18 meters. The inside of the temple was cedar carved with gourds and open flowers. Everything was cedar, no stone was to be seen, so completely covered. He prepared the inner sanctuary with the temple to set within the temple to set the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord there. The inner sanctuary was 20 cubits long, 20 high, and 20 wide. E. That is about 30 feet or 9 meters long, wide, and high, and so cube, a complete cube. He overlaid the inside with pure gold. He also overlaid the altar of cedar. Solomon covered the inside of the temple with pure gold and extended gold chains across the front of the inner sanctuary, which was overlaid with gold. So he overlaid the whole interior with gold. He also overlaid with gold the altar that belonged to the inner sanctuary. In the inner sanctuary, he made a pair of cherubim of olive wood, each 10 cubits. Footnote of F, that is 15 feet or about 4.5 meters high. One wing of the first cherub was 5 cubits, and the other wing 5 cubits. Wow. 10 cubits from wingtip to wingtip. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's that 15 feet. 15 feet wide statue of cherubims from wing to wing. The second cherub, because it's just one, the second cherub also measured 10 cubits, for the 2 cherubim were identical in size and shape. Their height of each cherub was 10 cubits. He placed the cherubim inside the innermost room of the temple, with their wings spread out. The wing of one cherub touched one wall, while the wing of the other touched the other wall. And their wings touched each other in the middle of the room. So just the wings of these angels extended out, edge to edge, and then coming together, touching to touch. That's, wow. These are huge wings. He overlaid the cherubim with gold. So that means they were made of something in particular, probably wood, and then moved into place and then overlaid. Like dumped gold over top, gold leaf, most likely. On the walls, because to get it really that hot and not burn the wood as well. On the walls around the temple, in both the inner and outer rooms, he carved cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers. He also covered the floors of the inner and outer rooms of the temple with gold. For the entrance of the inner sanctuary, he made doors of olive wood with 5-sided jambs. 5-sided jambs. It makes it seem like it's a folding door. Because why would you have 5-sided jambs? On one of the 2 olive wood doors, he carved cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers, and overlaid the cherubim and the palm trees with beaten gold. Now, that is a gold leaf overlay. In the same way, because you have to beat it down into a thin metal plate in order to apply. In the same way, he made 4-sided jambs of olive wood for the entrance to the main hall. It would imply that they were bigger planks of wood. He also made, because olive wood trees do not grow in these big, enormous mass. They're not like, sequoia trees out there in California. They're not growing like that. That's not how big an olive tree goes. So you're going to be limited in how much you can get out of it per tree. Just in the same way, he made 4-sided jambs of olive wood for the entrance to the main hall. He also made 2 pine doors. Those grow much bigger. Each having 2 leaves and 2 leaves that turned into sockets. That's pretty cool. So they carved leaves into sockets. Nice. He carved cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers on them, and overlaid them with gold hammered evenly over the carvings. And he built the inner courtyard of the 3 courses of dressing stone and 1 course of trim cedar beams. The foundation of the temple of the Lord was laid in the 4th year in the month of Ziv. In the 11th year in the month of Bul, B-U-L, the 8th month, the temple was finished in all the details according to its specifications. He spent 7 years building it. So this is something that took quite some time. Okay? If you want to find out what Solomon built next, because he's not done. He's a prolific builder. You'll have to come back for the next video, friends.